Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks again for watching another one of my videos, and I do truly appreciate it. And today is Friday, thank goodness, and gotta go watch one of my grandsons play baseball tonight. And my daughter has softball practice, and then tomorrow daughter has a soccer game, and another one and my littlest girl has softball practice. And so I spend all my time at the ball field, at the cheer gym or something. There's something with sports all the time. The only sport that I'm not getting to do is going fishing. But I really need to go wet a line. And when I do, I will have you guys along with me, and I'll have an on the water video. But anyway, today I want to talk about where bass go after the spawn. You got to follow the bass movement. Bass movement is one of the most important things that you can learn. Watch videos, read books, read magazines. Really educate yourself on bass movement. It is a very important part of knowing where to begin fishing. The fish have spawned in my area anyway, and then down south they've been post-spawn for a while. Up north of me, they may still be spawning, or maybe pre-spawn still some, but I figure they're getting pretty close to spawning, if not already spawning, even up north. But where do they go after they get done spawning? Well, they go back out to the places where they were at during the pre-spawn. They're out, in my opinion, this is my opinion, and this is where I go to find fish after the spawn. They're going to be there's going to be a group of fish that goes out into deeper water, and then there's going to be a group of fish that comes back up and stays in the shallower water. Seems like there's more fish that moves out into the deeper part than stays shallow, but there's still some big fish and a good number of fish that stays shallow. So where do we go find fish after the spawn? To answer that question, the female seems like they all move kind of out, say into 6 to 15 foot of water is usually where I target. I try to find some brush piles, some rock piles, boat docks, bridge pilings, riprap, just things like that that'll have good structure, good cover in that little bit deeper water, because those fish are going to feed back up from the spawn, and they're going to be really active for a while. So you want to start, I usually start, depends what structure or cover I'm fishing, like a boat dock, riprap, because the shad spawn's going to be going on, and that shad spawn, the shad will spawn on boat docks, they'll spawn on riprap, they'll spawn on bridge pilings, they'll spawn on rocks, they'll spawn on wood, just anything that they can get those eggs to go against. I mean, I've even had big schools of shad coming up to the edge of my boat and trying to spawn on the edge of my boat when they're in the middle of spawning. But I usually start in that somewhere in 5 or 6 foot deep out to about 15. I throw a crankbait. That's one of my number one baits. Shad colored crankbait if it's the shad spawn going on. If you're in an area that's got a lot of crawdads, and a crawdad colored crankbait. Something that'll go in that, if you find the fish 6-8 foot of water, use like a DT8 or a DT6 or a shad wrap, something like that. When you find them in that depth zone, if you get around that 8, 10, 12, 15 foot, then I have the rock crawler, and you got the DT series from Rapala. The tactical crank is another good one. But most of those crankbaits, the Dime series from Berkley, they have good crankbaits, make a good crankbait. Strike King makes good crankbaits. Just anything that has a shad color or a crawdad color, whatever you're fishing around, whatever bait that you're fishing around. And I usually start in that depth to see if there's a bigger population of fish in that area, in that depth zone, because that's my favorite depth zone, because I can slow roll a spinner bait, I can fish that crankbait, I can fish that wobble head, all those baits that I enjoy fishing, I can fish in that depth zone. If I'm looking on my down scan or side scan, and I'm seeing, oh goodness, my back hurts today. If I'm seeing fish or bait fish deeper than that, say 16 to 25 feet, then that's when I'm going to pull out the football jig. I'm going to pull out a deeper diving crankbait. I'm still going to keep the wobble head on, except I may go up to half to 5/8, 3/4 ounce. Depends on the wind and how fast I need to get it down, and because a lot of times it's warmer water and those fish is feeding really well, they want something faster moving, so I put on that 3/4 ounce wobble head so it just shoots down there past them, and I'll get a reaction strike, or they'll follow it, or when that big head hits the rocks on the bottom, it makes the noise, and they're going to come to investigate. And it's still a lot of fun, but it's deeper, and my baits change a little bit in that deeper water. Like I said, a deeper diver crankbait, a football jig, a wobble head. It's getting into summertime, so I start using more plastics, like a bigger plastic worm. I'll get out the Zoom old monster and start throwing it, and putting it in brush piles and around rock piles and under docks, and letting it fall down alongside a bridge piling. That deeper riprap out there, getting out there closer to where that riprap ends out there in that water. Sometimes that line right there that goes from the riprap to the regular lake bottom, sometimes that can be a hot place. Just that line right in there can be a hot place to find fish. And then you've got the shallow fish. It is a ton of fun as well, because I can throw my buzz bait, I can throw my spinner bait, I can throw other top waters, because at this time, because you got those fry garters up there, and if you got weed lines, a lot of laydowns, brush, riprap, that kind of stuff that you're fishing, you got the shad spawn going on, you got the bluegill spawn going on, you got the bass garden fry, so you got popper style baits that you can throw, you got the prop style baits that you can throw, you got buzz bait, spinner bait, chatter bait, swim jig, swim baits. You got a plethora of stuff that you can throw up there in that shallower water. You just got to figure out which one of them the fish wants the most, and figure out, what cover that they're going to be on. And square bill is an awesome bait when it's 5 or 6 foot or less and you're fishing, like the riprap, laydowns, rock piles around boat docks and that kind of thing. Another good bait that you can throw is a fluke style bait, a weightless Senko, or a Senko, Texas rigged, wacky rigged, and there's just all kinds of baits that you can throw this time of year after the spawn that they'll hit, because they're feeding up, and you just pick your favorite and go from there, and pick the depth zone that you want to fish, or that you see fish on your locator and that kind of thing. But I suggest you start 5 or 6 foot and out to 15, because it seems like I find the bigger population of bass in that zone right after the spawn. They're out there feeding up, but they're going to move. Some of those are going to move back up into shallower water, and like I said, and then that shad spawn, while it's going on, those schools of bass are going to push those big schools of shad up against the shoreline, wherever they're spawning against, whether it's a weed line, a riprap, or a boat dock or something. Those bass will push those bait fish up in there and gorge themselves on them bait fish. And then of course the bluegill spawn, they're going to eat those bluegills, be around those bluegill beds. Most time they're going to be on the outer edges of those bluegill beds, especially if you can find a shade line of some kind from a boat dock or a tree, a weed bed, something that's going to where those bass can hide and come out and ambush those bluegill as they're trying to come up there and spawn. And then another place to look is out on the points. Some of those big bass are going to go out there and suspend. They may be suspended 5 to 10 foot deep over deep water. There may be a big brush pile there. There may be standing timber. They may be suspended under a boat dock. They may be out there suspended around the bridge pilings. The points. The points are a good place, because you'll have a drop off, and they may suspend out there off the edge of that drop off, or they may suspend over something that's out there on the end of that point in deep water. They may just be following bait fishing. They may just be following big schools of shad. They may be out there over 100 foot of water, but they're suspended 5 to 10 foot deep, chasing those big schools of bait fish. And Of course, the old jig head minnow is a good one to throw. Just fan cast, especially if you've got some standing timber or something that they're over, and you know it's there, and you can get out there and fan cast around that standing timber, or fan cast, around deeper docks, just get out there and fan cast that jig head minnow around, and you don't have to have forward facing sonar to do that. They've been doing it for years, and forward facing sonar has just kind of made it more popular. And anyway, this video's 16 minutes long already, so it's just something to think about. Where's the bass going to go after the spawn? And they're getting ready to move out to their summer haunts, but they're going to feed up in between going to their summer haunts. You go back to where they was during the pre-spawn. You get back to the first deep water out of the spawning pocket is a great place to find them, and because they're going to start moving out into their summer areas, like points and standing timber and drop-offs and that kind of thing. But the first deep water out of the spawning pocket is a great place to start looking after the spawn, and you've still got fry garters up there. Those big bass are going to start moving out, and they're going to be feeding up, and you need to be there to catch them. So anyway, I hope this video made some sense. I was trying to pack kind of a lot of information in quick. If you have any questions or comments, please leave a message below. If you enjoyed my videos and like the content, please hit the like, share, and subscribe button. And y'all have a great and blessed weekend, and I will see you guys out on the water.